I need to tell someone about this, and I need to say it clearly, because I've already tried telling Marcus, and he just kept asking me to slow down, and I couldn't. And I think if I write it out in order it might make more sense. Or it won't. But at least it'll be documented. I bought my house 14 months ago. A 2-bedroom semi-detached in Calder Ridge, about 20 minutes outside Sheffield. Nothing special. I'm a physiotherapist. I work 3 days at a clinic in the city and 2 days from home doing telehealth appointments. I live with my dog, Bonnie, a Springer Spaniel who is afraid of the Hoover and not much else. I have a partner, Marcus, who stays over most weekends. I have friends. I have a full calendar. I say this because I need you to understand I am not isolated. I am not someone who loses days. I am not someone who dissociates or forgets things. My memory is good, my life is normal, was normal. 3 weeks ago I installed a doorbell camera, not because of anything sinister. My neighbor Pam had a parcel stolen off her step, and there was a thread in our street's group chat about everyone getting cameras. I ordered one from Amazon. Took me about 40 minutes to install because the bracket was slightly too wide for the door frame, and I had to drill a new hole. I remember this specifically. The drill bit slipped and I nicked the paintwork. I can still see the mark. The camera links to an app on my phone. It records motion-activated clips, timestamps them, and stores them in the cloud for 7 days before they auto-delete. For the first 2 weeks, it worked exactly as expected. Me leaving for work, me coming home, the postman, a fox at 3 in the morning, Marcus arriving Friday evening with a bottle of wine. Ordinary. Then, 9 days ago, I got a notification at 2:30 in the afternoon. I was at the clinic between patients, sitting in the staff kitchen eating a yogurt. My phone buzzed. Motion detected. I opened the app, mostly out of boredom. The clip showed my front door from the usual angle. Daylight. The hedge on the left, the recycling bin on the right, and me walking up the path toward the door. I was wearing my green coat, the one with the toggles. My hair was down. I had my gym bag over one shoulder. I watched myself reach the door, take out my keys, unlock it, and go inside. The clip was 11 seconds long. I looked at the timestamp. 14:32 that day. 9 minutes from now, relative to when the notification arrived. I want to be precise about that. The notification came in at 14:23. The timestamp on the clip said 14:32. The clip showed something that, according to its own metadata, hadn't happened yet. I stared at it for a while. Then I laughed, because obviously the timestamp was wrong. Glitch, server lag, some mismatch between the camera's internal clock and the cloud sync. I even Googled it. Found a forum post from someone whose camera showed timestamps an hour off because of a daylight savings error. That made sense. I finished my yogurt. I went back to work. I got home that evening around 6:15. I was wearing my green coat. I had my gym bag because I'd gone to the gym after the clinic. I walked up the path, took out my keys, unlocked the door, went inside. It wasn't until I was feeding Bonnie that I thought about it again. I pulled up the clip from earlier, watched it. Then I pulled up the clip the camera recorded when I actually arrived home at 6:15. They were not the same clip. In the 14:32 clip, I walk up the path, and my left hand adjusts the strap of the gym bag as I reach for my keys. In the 18:16 clip, I walk up the path, and I don't touch the strap at all. My posture is slightly different. The light is different, obviously, because one is afternoon and one is evening. These were 2 separate recordings of 2 separate arrivals, except I only arrived once that day. I texted Marcus about it. He said it was probably an old clip that got reserved with a wrong timestamp. He asked if I wanted him to come over. I said no, I was fine. It was just weird. I walked Bonnie. I watched television. I went to bed. The next day, nothing unusual. No phantom clips. I started to forget about it. 2 days later, it happened again. I was at home this time. A telehealth day. I was in my spare room, which I use as an office, conducting an appointment over Zoom at 11 in the morning. My phone was on silent but face up on the desk. I saw the notification banner slide down. Motion detected. I finished my appointment, then checked. The clip showed me arriving home, green coat, gym bag, same as before. Timestamp, 11:07, 3 minutes before the notification came through. But I was already home. I'd been home since I woke up. I hadn't left the house. I went downstairs and opened the front door, looked at the path, looked at the street. Nobody there. Bonnie hadn't barked. Nothing was disturbed. I checked the door's lock, still latched from the inside, which meant nobody had opened it. I went back inside and watched the clip again. In this one, I walk up the path slightly faster. My hair is down again, but tucked behind one ear. I'm wearing the green coat, but the top toggle is undone. I reach the door, key goes in, door opens, I step inside. 11 seconds, clip ends. I watched it 4 more times. On the 5th viewing, I noticed something I hadn't before. The recycling bin. In the clip, it's positioned against the wall to the right of the door, lid closed. I walked back to my front door and opened it. My recycling bin was at the curb. I'd put it out that morning for collection, and the truck hadn't come yet. So the clip wasn't showing now. It wasn't showing earlier that day. It was showing some other time when the bin was against the wall. But it was timestamped today. I called the camera company's tech support, spent 20 minutes on hold, then spoke to someone named Ryan, who asked me to power cycle the device and check my Wi-Fi connection. I told him the timestamps were wrong. He said there were no known server-side issues and suggested I factory reset the camera. I did. The whole process took about 15 minutes, reconnected it to the app, tested it by walking out and back in. The new clip appeared with the correct timestamp. Everything looked normal. That was a Wednesday. Nothing happened for 4 days. I told Marcus about it over the weekend, and he looked at the clips with me and said the obvious thing, which is that it was clearly a software error, and the fact that the clips showed me was probably because the camera had cached previous footage and was reserving it incorrectly after some update. It made complete sense. I believed him. We had a normal weekend. The following Monday I got 3 notifications in a row. I was at the clinic, between patients again. 1341, 1342, 1343. 3 clips. I opened them in order. First clip. Me, walking up the path. Green coat, gym bag, reaching the door, unlocking it, going inside. Second clip. The door, still and closed. Then it opens from the inside. I step out. I'm not wearing the green coat. I'm wearing a grey jumper I own. I look directly at the camera, not smiling, not doing anything except looking. Then I step back inside and close the door. Third clip. Me, walking up the path again, this time from further back, as if I'm coming from the street rather than the driveway. I'm wearing the green coat again. I walk up, reach the door, and stop. I stand there for about 4 seconds with my hand on the door handle. Then the clip ends. In all 3 clips, the timestamp is the following Friday, 5 days in the future. I need you to understand what that means. The camera recorded 3 clips, delivered them to me on Monday, and stamped them with a date that hadn't arrived yet. I left work early, drove home. The whole way I kept trying to talk myself into rational explanations. Corrupted firmware, metadata error, some bizarre interaction between the camera's clock and the cloud server that's producing future dates. When I pulled into the driveway, the house looked completely normal. Bonnie greeted me at the door. Nothing was disturbed. I checked the camera's settings. The date and time were correct. I checked the clips again, still stamped with Friday. I called Marcus, told him everything. He came over that evening, and he looked at the clips on my phone, and for the first time, he didn't immediately have an explanation. He just watched them quietly and then said, "Maybe we should get a second camera." So we did. He went to Screwfix that same evening and bought a basic motion sensor camera. Completely different brand, different app, different cloud account. We installed it on the inside of the front window, angled to cover the path from a different perspective. If the doorbell camera was glitching, the second camera would either corroborate or disprove what it showed. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Both cameras recorded only real, accurate, present tense events. Me leaving, me arriving, postman, Pam walking past with her dog, everything correctly time-stamped. I started to relax. Marcus stayed over Wednesday and Thursday nights. He said we'd wait and see what happened on Friday, since that was the date on the phantom clips. Friday morning. Marcus left for work around 7. I had a telehealth day. I sat in my office doing appointments until noon. I was wearing a grey jumper. At 12:04, I received a notification from the second camera, the one in the window. I opened it. It showed the path outside, from inside looking out through the glass, and there I was, walking up the path, green coat, gym bag, exactly as in the first of Monday's clips. Same angle of the bag, same hand adjusting the strap, same slight lean forward as I reached the door. But I was inside. I was upstairs in my office. I was wearing a grey jumper. I had not left the house. I ran downstairs. I got to the front door and I opened it, and there was nobody on the path, nobody on the street. Bonnie was standing behind me, curious but calm. No barking, no growl. I checked the Doorbell Camera's app. No notification, no new clip, nothing recorded. The second camera saw someone arrive. The first camera did not. One camera showed me coming home. The other showed an empty path at the same moment. I stood in my doorway for a long time. I don't know how long. The air outside was cold and completely still, and I had this feeling, this very specific feeling, like the moment was thicker than it should be. Like I was standing in something that had already set, like concrete that had cured around my feet. I went back inside and locked the door. At 12:11, the doorbell camera sent a notification. I opened it with my hands shaking. It was me, stepping out of the front door. Grey jumper, looking directly into the camera, not smiling. Time-stamped, 12:11. I had just been standing in that doorway. At approximately 12:11, in my grey jumper, looking out. The camera had recorded me doing exactly what I'd just done. But the clip didn't show me looking confused or scared or scanning the street for an intruder. In the clip, I looked calm. I looked like someone who meant to open the door, look at the camera, and go back inside. It looks deliberate, purposeful. And I swear to God, my face in that clip looks slightly different from how I felt. My expression is relaxed in a way I was absolutely not relaxed. The corners of my mouth are set. My eyes are steady. I look like someone who knows exactly what's happening. I called Marcus. He didn't answer. I called again. He picked up on the third ring and I told him what happened, and he said he was coming home. I said, okay. I said, please hurry. Then I sat on the sofa, and I pulled up all the clips, all of them. Every phantom recording from the past 9 days. I lined up the timestamps. Monday's 3 clips were dated today. Friday, 12:02, 12:11, 12:15. The first one, me arriving in the green coat, was timestamped 12:02. The second camera caught the same event at 12:04. The 2-minute discrepancy consistent with each camera's slightly different clock. Same event, confirmed by 2 independent devices. The second clip, me stepping out in the grey jumper, 12:11. That matched what I'd just done, approximately. Except it didn't, because what I'd done wasn't calm or deliberate, and what the camera showed was. The third clip was stamped 12:15. Me in the green coat, walking up the path from the street, stopping at the door with my hand on the handle. It was 12:13. I had 2 minutes. I don't know what made me do what I did next. I think it was the feeling that everything up to this point had matched, that the clips weren't glitches, that they were accurate recordings of things that were happening or about to happen, and that whatever mechanism was behind them didn't lie. It recorded, it time-stamped, and everything it showed came true. And the next thing it showed was me, in my green coat, arriving from the street at 12:15. I was inside my house, wearing a grey jumper, with no intention of putting on my green coat or walking anywhere. So if that clip was going to come true, something was going to make me do that. Or something that looked like me was going to walk up that path in 2 minutes. I stood up. I walked to the front window, not the camera side, the other window, the one facing the street without a camera. I looked outside. At 12:15, nothing happened. No one walked up the path. No one appeared on the street. The driveway was empty except for my car. The neighborhood was silent. I checked the doorbell camera. No new notification. No new clip. The third recording from Monday, the one stamped 12:15, was still in my library, still showing me walking up in the green coat, but it hadn't happened. For the first time, a clip didn't come true. And instead of relief, I felt something worse. Because if the first 2 clips matched reality, and the third didn't, then something changed. Something I did broke the sequence. I stayed inside. I didn't put on the coat. I didn't walk up the path. And so the camera was wrong. Or the future it recorded was a future I was supposed to be in, and I deviated from it. Marcus got home around 1. He found me sitting on the kitchen floor with Bonnie in my lap. He asked me what happened and I told him, and he looked at the clips and he went very quiet for a long time, and then he said we should take the cameras down. I said no. Because here is the thing I haven't said yet, the thing I've been circling around. In every single clip the camera recorded of me arriving. The green coat clips, every one of them. I look fine. I look calm and purposeful, and like someone who knows where she's going. I look like someone arriving home because it's time to arrive home. There is no confusion in that version of me, no fear. And I have spent 9 days being confused and afraid. So either those clips are showing a version of events where I know something I don't currently know, where I've figured something out that I haven't yet figured out, where I am calm because I have answers, or they're showing something else arriving at my house wearing my face and my coat, and it is calm because it isn't scared. And the reason I didn't take the cameras down is because right now, they are the only thing telling me which of those is true. Marcus stayed all weekend. Nothing happened. No phantom clips. We watched the feeds obsessively and every recording was real-time, correctly stamped, boring. I started sleeping again. Monday morning, he went to work. I had appointments. At 10:40, while I was on a Zoom call with a patient, both cameras sent notifications simultaneously. I haven't opened them. They're sitting in both apps right now. 2 unread notifications. I've been typing this for 20 minutes and I have not opened them. Because last time, the clips showed me doing things I then did. And I'm worried that looking at them is what makes them come true. That the act of watching is what collapses the whole thing into reality. That if I'd never opened Monday's clips, Friday wouldn't have happened the way it did. So I'm not going to open them. I'm going to leave them unread. I'm going to close both apps and delete them from my phone, and I'm going to live my day without knowing what they show. And if nothing happens, then I'll know. It was observation. It was me watching that made it real. But Marcus just texted me. He said, "Check your camera. There's something wrong with the front door." And Bonnie is standing at the top of the stairs, ears flat, staring down at the hallway, and I can hear my keys in the lock.